Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I hope you're doing well. My name is Jeff Gibby. I'm running the control room today, so let's cross our fingers. Hope everything goes well. It's good to see you here today. Welcome to the thing. Today we're going to be talking about MetaStock 18, our brand new version of MetaStock that has been doing extremely well. Very much like the new version of the program. So thank you for coming to see it. As you come in, say hello. Tell us where you're from. We like to see you. We like to see those comments. If you like, if you subscribe, those things help us out a great deal. We really appreciate that as well. And one other thing. Hello, the Silvery Stars. Welcome. I love the new update too. If you, one other thing. Make sure to like and subscribe. It helps. We do have a very big multiple speaker event. It's going to be 8 hours. We're doing it President's Day. And you can find out more information about that at traders-summit.com. So we're going to be starting in about 3 minutes, 2 minutes and 20 seconds, I guess. So hold on. We'll see you in a minute. All right, everyone. I want to welcome everybody to the show today. Thanks for coming. Today we have Bobby Healer. He's going to be speaking. Bobby's been a representative of MetaStock for 5 years. He's a great employee. We're very, very happy to have him talk to you about the 18 today. So with that being said, Bobby, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
All right, great. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Okay. So yeah, guys, it's finally here, MetaStock version 18. And that's what we're going to be going over today, are all the new features in 18. I know maybe some of you joining might not be super familiar with MetaStock. This is primarily just going to be focusing on those new features of 18. We have plenty of other videos on our YouTube if you just want to learn about what MetaStock is in general. But today, yeah, the focus will be fully on all the new features. Before I get ahead of myself here, I want to make sure that I put up our disclaimer and just go over that briefly with you guys. This demonstration, it's designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins, and it's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. And with that out of the way, you can see here, these are some of the main highlights in version 18. And don't worry, we're going to spend most of our time today inside the actual software, where I'll be highlighting all these new features and kind of showing you how to use them, at least the general usage for everything. This is by far one of the biggest releases we've had in decades. So there's a lot of new features, a lot of stuff to cover. And primarily most of that time will be spent in our new charting engine as well. But you can see there's also updates inside of the Power Console itself. Option Scope and Quote Center have new updates in there. We've made things easier to use and navigate, and even for easier login details as well. So we're going to be jumping in. I'm just going to hit these other highlights too. So we have new charting styles, themes, indicators, new scroll functionality throughout, lots of enhancements to our drawing tools. That's one of my favorite things. And then, like I mentioned before, just lots of enhancements to the usability and the ease of use of the software. So I think you're all going to be really happy with these features. And starting off, so in that new chart itself, I'm going to go ahead and dive in and start going through these different features with you guys. So let's pull up MetaStock here. So this is MetaStock as you know it, but with the overhaul to our charts here. And I'm actually going to take this headset off because I can hear a little bit of an echo in there. So here's our MetaStock chart. And you can see it's already, just at first glance, even at a black and white page here, you can see everything's just a little bit smoother. The lines are a little bit cleaner. This isn't a completely redone engine on here. Ooh. Sorry about that. I just tried to hang up my watch and I accidentally answered. Anyways, back onto it. So with our charts here, I'm going to go ahead and open up and show you guys the different price styles that we now have and some of the features that are listed on those. So let's go into candlesticks, and you'll notice right away once I highlight the candlesticks, and I'm going to actually go ahead and apply that here, there's lots of options for not only filling the up color and the down color like we used to have before, but now you can also do like the up fill and the down fill in the software too. So a lot of people like to have their candlesticks laid out in a certain way, and we used to always default to the close to close, and now you can change whether the filling criteria or not is affected by close to close or the open to close on there. And then sorry, that's the up down mode. And then your fill mode, you can determine if it fills all the time. So some people like to look at their charts always filled, and some only want it filled if the close is less than the open. So you can go in and actually do those settings now. And let me show you on this as well. So our up color, and I'm going to change the up fill to a slightly different variation of green. We'll have our down color as red, and the down color fill, let's put it as orange and show you guys what this looks like. And then with that too, there's more settings. We can actually dive into this a little bit deeper, and we can choose the transparency level, how those are filled in as well. So I'm going to actually bring that down, and you can see how it affected the different candlesticks here. So there's just a ton of new variations too. the candlesticks. And like I said, too, you can do the always fill too. So we've had these before, but now they're completely enhanced. They're easier to change. Everything that you need in order to make those changes is available to you right here as well. So that just makes it a lot easier to go through those. We also have, on top of the candlesticks, you can do CandleVolume, and same thing, you can affect the different defaults on these. I'm actually going to restore all the defaults for this too. Oops, and I went to bars. Let's go to CandleVolume and apply that. And with the CandleVolume charts, you can see when there's more volume on the chart, it's going to make that candlestick larger and make it stand out more. So you have that option as well. And then we have EquiVolume. And then another really big request and something we're excited to get added in is you now have the Heiken-Ashi charts available, just built in. There used to be an add-on that you can get that worked only under certain conditions, but now we have the Heiken-Ashi built right in to the charts. And you can even go in and once again change like the up color, the down color, the down fill, the weight on these. It's entirely customizable in that nature. And then you can save those settings as well so that you can come back and use them that way. And let's see, another really big enhancement comes to some of the different price styles on our lines. So if you have the line, let's go ahead and get this applied. The plot style for it. So you can have the general line like you see it on the screen where it's just going from 1 point to 1 point based on the default, or we can come in and change that to a stepped line, and that's just going to move it up and over to those different points. So taking a step instead of kind of a smoothed over line, as well as the filled line, which I really like this one too, where it's going to fill up to that point on your chart. So lots of enhancements here onto the just chart engine in general and the different charting styles and customizations that you can do in here. And of course, everything you can go into on a deeper level to select your own custom colors and everything of that nature. And then save those and always move back to it. So you're always going to have your charts looking exactly how you want them now. If you're used to candlesticks being demonstrated a certain way by a certain person, that's how you learned, you can now match that criteria to help you out on your charts here. So we're really excited to get that released. And on top of that, that kind of transitions us into my next topic here, which not only do we have the updated pricing styles and parameters there, but on top of that, we've added 16 additional themes inside of MetaStock. If you notice, I come down here on my chart and I open up this chart theme. There's 16 different themes, just as mentioned, and I can click into these and they have preset criteria on them that'll change through here. I'm actually a really big fan of the black steel. And another thing that this does, let me actually go back into a candlestick chart here while showing this. And let's even plot just an indicator on here as well. So let's just get like a MACD histogram. All right, so the colors, when I'm changing the theme, if the theme would make it so that the existing colors on my chart would be hard to see, it actually accounts for that, and it'll update the color appropriately so that you're still going to be able to see everything on your chart, even if you've set specific colors and then you've gone in and changed them. So like if I come into this greener based theme, you can see it updated the charts colors here in order to make that so that you're not going to lose anything on your chart if you're going through messing with the different themes. They put a lot of time and thought into it, and there's 16 different themes in here, so definitely something you'll find that matches what you like to use. So big topic there are the themes. Let's see, jump into my PowerPoint and make sure that we're not skipping over anything. So I showed you guys how we have the different bars and all the styles that are under the new charts for your candlesticks, the CandleVolume, the line, etc. We did go through all of this. Let's see the themes. So again, a really great just visual enhancement that you're going to have with 18. Everything just looks smoother and cleaner. Everything in overall is also just far easier to use and more visually appealing. So I love this update here. Our scroll preview. So this is another just a little thing inside of the software now that just makes it so much more user-friendly and easier to use. You might have noticed down here on the scroll bar, you can actually see it's been updated here, and you can see the historical price on this. So currently this lighter colored area right here, that is where we're looking at the chart right now. And I can actually click if I want to go see like, you know, this portion of the chart here. I click and it will slide my view window over there. I actually like the animated effect that takes us over here. And now it clicks in and shows me this part of the graph. But you can see easily, you know, kind of what's happened to price. If there's a big jump up or down somewhere and you want to zoom in on that, you can look at it. But you can see, you know, the price has been lower here and it gradually went up. So it helps you identify what you're seeing on the chart. And jump to specific areas that you want to look at in a much more friendly manner. I can also just use the scroll wheel on my mouse and scroll up and down, and it'll go through that. You can, of course, do control click to zoom in and out. I remember people asking me that or asking that during one of the other presentations here. So yes, you can still zoom in and out with your mouse wheel too, and you can see how it's affecting the scroll bar down here. Also, you can just grab one end of the window and open it up larger like this, and it'll show you what you're viewing down here and opens up the view overall on your chart as well. So really great enhancements there for the scrolling. See, I have some notes here to make sure I don't miss anything. Yeah, you could, so that allows you to preview the data and easily find sections to zoom in and out on. So another just really nice user-friendly setting that's going to come with your version 18 of MetaStock. All right, let's see what else we have here. So indicators, there's a lot of new functionality and customizations that have come with the indicators inside of MetaStock. So I'm going to jump through a decent amount of those. Let's go ahead and just go in MetaStock and go over these. All right, so I'm going to zoom back out here on my chart. I'm going to bring this down a little bit. Here we go. All right, so when you're plotting an indicator, and let's go ahead and just do that, like such as a moving average. When I want to plot a moving average, I'm just going to click it and drop. And when you're going in to put that on, you can of course choose the time period for your moving average or the different parameters here. You've always been able to set, you know, parameters for these things. But now if I go inside of the color and style here, I can choose whether I want this to be plotted as a line, as a stepped line, a filled line, stepped filled line, the dot, histogram, etc. And when I click into one, it's going to let me choose the different colors that I want for these. Let's actually even just get one on here so you guys can look at it. So that is a stepped filled line. So it's stepping the line of this moving average, and then it's filling it. And I can choose if I want to change, you know, the different color of this. And once again, too, if I go into the advanced settings, I can choose the level of transparency on that as well. So I'll go ahead and just show you what that looks like if I were to update that. And then of course, the weight, the style, all of that can be affected as well. And then one of my favorite parts is, don't worry, you guys, you don't have to go in and do this on every single moving average if you always like to look at it in a particular way. You can actually come to the defaults down here, and I can say, hey, save the current page as my default. So I always want to plot it as a regular line with the default color red, or, you know, whatever color you may choose. You can go in here and choose these different colors and then save that as the default. Or if you've gone through and you've changed the horizontal lines, the different parameters in here, etc., then you come down here and you can save all pages as default. And that's going to be your new default every time that you apply a moving average onto a chart. I mean, it just makes sense to have these extra added features and to have them so readily available right at your fingertips. So that is exactly what we've done with these new indicators, giving you all these additional options and giving you the new usability that come with them as well. And just because this is our demo PC here, I'm going to make sure I restore everything to the defaults for the next person that comes in and wants to show everyone how this works. So, and that's just an example on like a moving average there. This affects, you know, a lot of the different indicators. So we can go, I guess we already have the MACD histogram that I plotted earlier when I was showing you the different themes and what it looks like. So I can go back in and just double click on that to open it up. And once again, with the MACD, one difference here is you used to have to go in and actually select every line in a different indicator. So you have the moving average, the differential, and the MACD. You would have to click each individual line, and then choose the different color for that, and etc. But now it knows that this whole section down here is part of this indicator, so it all opens up here, and I can go in and change each individual part of it from just one properties page. So that's made it a lot easier to once again customize your different indicators in the ways that you want. And of course, as it was with the moving average, you can come down, and once you've set everything to look exactly as you want it to look, maybe you know, you wanted to have a filled line for your histogram on the MACD, you can do it that way as well, and then you can save those as your default, and the next time you plot it, even onto a different chart, it's going to show up there. Also, just because I didn't really mention this before, I do want to say if anyone has any questions throughout the demonstration, please feel free to chime in. I'm not always the best at remembering to look over, but Jeff is watching too, and he can help answer your questions in the YouTube chat or ask me to demonstrate something. And if I see it here, I can show you guys or answer any of your questions. I know we have a handful of people in GoToWebinar as well. And same thing for you guys. If you have any questions, which it looks like I actually missed one, I can answer them for you. So let's look at that. So someone asked if there's a watch list feature now in MetaStock 18. They think it's a functionality that should be in there. So yeah, you can go in and you can use like our quote center, and you can save custom lists, and you can save your own watch list basically into either our quote center or into our custom list pages. I'll show a little bit more in the Power Console and some of the different changes in there. But yeah, there's definitely functionality to have a watch list that you can easily access inside of MetaStock. All right, so back into it here. Let's see what else I have for the indicators. So we have the different plot styles, which I've shown you. Oh, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put a Bollinger Band on the chart here. And so when I go to drop that, it's asking the parameters that I want to select. And again, I can come in, choose my colors and styles, etc. I'm going to go ahead and just click OK. And one thing that you might notice right away is that yeah, it's filled in between the different bands for the Bollinger. And also, when I went to plot it, it knew that normally when you plot Bollinger bands, that's just going to go directly onto your price chart. And instead of asking you where exactly it wants to go, and that actually happened when I plotted my MACD earlier. That was a feature that I didn't even think to mention. So I'm going to actually show again, is if I go to grab like the MACD histogram, and I come and I drop it on my chart and hit OK, it knows that normally when you're looking at a MACD histogram, it goes into its own window. And so it automatically put it into its own window down here at the bottom. So that's kind of like a smarter charting feature where it knows whether you want this to overlay or whether you want it to go in its own window inside of your chart. So that's been an enhancement that we've added there. You have the ability to fill these envelopes, and just because it's such a great feature, I'm going to go ahead and change. Let's say I want the upper band on green. Oh, sorry, that's not the band. That's the fill. If I wanted that to be green, you can do that here. And then you see I've done that, and it's actually so dark that you can't see through it, but I can, of course, come in here and change the transparency on that. And maybe this is how I want my Bollinger Band to look, just because I think that's a smoother setting. So I could use it that way. Another thing that you're able to do with your indicators as well is you can have them on your chart and maybe, but perhaps you don't want part of it to be visible, or you just want an invisible indicator in the background that you're referencing for later in some of your formulas or codes or something of that nature. But you have the ability to choose whether it's visible or not. So there's a lot of different reasons why you might want to do that. And that's now an option. So I've gotten rid of the middle band here for that, or I can come back and apply it and you see it goes there. So that's another added feature. We've made it so you can have your indicators on your chart, but be invisible. I'm going to restore the factory defaults for everything and put that back on there. All right, so let's see, what else do we have on the list for our indicators? So I showed the smart plotting. Volume, okay, so we've added some other, so first off, the MACD histogram is actually a new indicator that Jeff advocated to get added into MetaStock. I've been showing this a couple of times already, and I didn't even mention that it was new. A lot of people like to look at it this way, where you have your standard MACD doing the cross, and then the histogram in the middle here is just the difference in between the different lines. That's what it's showing on there. So we added that as just an indicator. It's the popular way to look at your MACDs now. We still have the standard MACD in there as well that you can look at too. So, but now you can have the histogram with it automatically with just an easy click. So we've added that. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, so with volume, we've added a couple of changes on volume that you can update. I'm going to just clean up my chart a little bit. Let's actually get rid of these. And let's even take this off. And there's my moving average. Let's get rid of that too. And just plot volume up, down. So the volume up, down, what this does, I'm going to put it on my chart here. And then I'm going to just double click it as always to open these properties back up. But I wanted you guys to first be able to see what I'm doing. So with the volume, you can now go in and, of course, choose your plotting style with it, but with the colors. So I can have the volume show either based on whether the close price was higher or not. Then the volume can show as green or whatever color that you set it to. And if it's down, it's going to be as red. So and that's based on the close of the previous day. You also have the option of having, so that's the red, green down here, having it based on volume. So if I apply it by volume, you'll see whenever the volume was higher than the previous day, it's now showing green down here. And if the volume was lower than the previous day, then it's showing red. And then again, the close, just in case I wasn't clear on that one, that's affected by the price up here. So if the close price is higher, then you're going to get a green bar. And if the close price was lower than the previous day, you'll get a red bar. And then, of course, you can change those colors too. It doesn't have to be green or red. That's just the default. And once again, you can save whatever settings that you do on that and make that your new default for all the charts that you're looking at in the future when you apply that indicator. So that was an improvement for volume. Features as well that a lot of people were wanting, just because some people are so used to it being one way, and if you have it another way in your platform, it can get a little confusing. So we're definitely trying to meet the needs of everybody here with this update, and not only making it so more people can use our charts exactly how they want to use them, but just making it better for everyone overall and easier to use. All right, let's go back into my PowerPoint here. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot on this page that I still kind of want to go over with you guys. We showed the fill between the line. Okay, so let's come back, into MetaStock actually. And another thing to show, let's get our Ichimoku. So the Ichimoku, now when I plot that, it now has the ability to actually show the Ichimoku cloud into the future. So in the older charting engine, it wouldn't let us go into the future. And so we had to just put in like commentary and stuff, but now you can visually see it. And you'll also notice that for all the different indicators that I have applied, it's showing the values for my Ichimoku right here up in the title here. So that's been added. You can also see it's showing the values on the indicators over here as well, but I'll get a little bit more into that later. So I did want to show that feature there. Let's see what else I have. Let's go back into the PowerPoint and let's full screen that again. So we did the invisible lines, the smart plotting, built-in up and down. You saw the histogram, the Ichimoku cloud plotting into the future. Also, for those of you that use P variable, you can display the indicator values automatically now. So that's another enhancement that we've added in as well. Let's see what else we have here. All right, so the drawing tools. So not only have we added these new indicators and ways for you to change those indicators, and I'll actually be touching in on a couple other additions of our indicators later, but the drawing tools have seen some serious overhauls as well. Let's go ahead and just jump in MetaStock and start going through these. All right, so well, I wanted to show you the values up here, but the Ichimoku is a little bit, it's a lot to put on the chart. So just to kind of make things simplified, I'm going to close that. Also, okay, yeah, that's what I want here. So with a trend line, I'm going to go ahead and just come over into our drawing tools, which normally you find right over here, and you can sort through them, etc. But let's just draw a trend line. So this is the normal trend line that you used to get. And you know, you put in multiples, and we've had people ask us this quite a bit. It's a feature that I'm so excited that we were able to get added into MetaStock. Sorry, let me click on my indicator if I can. There we go. Oh, that's not my indicator. Let me just draw a new one. And open it up. So now when I'm in here on the drawing tools, there's a lot of new information on here, as you might see. We can make quite a few different changes to this. One being like if I wanted to add a right arrow onto this right here, you can see. So now you can use like the trend lines to draw basically on your chart and point at different things if you're trying to highlight something. But really my favorite part here is you can now add a label onto these trend lines. And then you can have that label display information such as the percent change. So let's actually apply that. So you can see going from this point down to here, that was a 3.14 drop. Let me actually just make this a little bit bigger for everyone to see. Oh, and then also I am going to increase the weight, make it a little bit easier for me to click on. All right. So now you can see it a little bit more. It's showing that, and maybe this isn't the best example either with this specific line I've drawn. So I'm going to do another one and say I wanted to see if it was from the high here down to this low here and turn that on. And I can actually snap this to a period or a price. For that one, what I was implying, I would want it to be snapped to the price. So now whenever I draw this line, it'll snap to the top of that price, or I can just snap it to the bottom. But it's going from the top there to the bottom here, and I want it to tell me the performance that happened there. So that's a little hard to see. Let's, again, just make this a little bit bigger. But you can see, so that was a drop of 34.44%, and the trend line just tells me that automatically, and I have it snapped to the price. You can also snap it to the period, or you used to not have this capability before. You don't have to snap it to a price or period. If you want to drop a trend line right in the middle of a bar or just in a certain spot and just have everything be manual, that's an option that you have as well. And then, of course, as you've kind of seen with our new theme, you can go in and save everything as a default. So every time you draw the trend line, it's going to show the performance information. It's going to be a little bit bigger. It's going to have that right arrow on there. Or you can also show the number of bars too. So let's go ahead and do that. So I changed it to points and the number of bars. So this is saying this dropped 415.98 points over 17 periods. So it's giving me all that information just right off of the line that I drew there. You don't have to go in there and count the number of bars that have passed, and then, pull out your calculator and subtract, the high of this to the low of that, etc. You can now have all of that just displayed right with the trend lines. So that's a great feature. It's one of my favorite new additions in 18. It really can let you see so much more information a lot faster and help you, kind of figure things out or determine different variations a lot easier. So I'm a really big fan of that update. And then, as always, you can come in and change the different styles of that too. And then just save it as your default if that's how you always want to look at it. And then you can always use it in that manner moving forward. So really big there. Let's see, what else do we have? So I showed you guys the snapping. Okay, so also let's pull out like a Fibonacci. So I'm just going to throw this on here real quick. So if you have like a Fibonacci line, I'm going to go ahead and open that up and go into the color and style here. So when I pulled this, it's showing all the different lines that it just plotted. And all the different percentages, but you can now go in and say you wanted to have add in a custom amount, like you always want to see the 25% on here as well. You can add that and apply it, and then maybe you want that one to be, we'll just change the color here. So you can see it puts the 25% line right there. You can change the color for every single one of these and choose like a default for it as well, so that you can have all the different percentages that you want with your Fibonacci. You can have it color coded to whatever is easiest for you, or whatever you prefer. Really, there's a ton of different reasons that you could change these in different ways. But the great thing is now that you have the added ability to do that a lot easier, and then to save that as your default and move it around and everything. So really big there as well. Let's see what else I have. I have a couple of notes here just to make sure I don't forget anything, because as you can tell, there are just so many enhancements everywhere, pretty much throughout the platform. And I want to make sure for those of you that are watching that you know what's in there, because, heck, even I find sometimes I'm inside of the software, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that this feature was there, because we add in so many things in all these upgrades, but 18 especially. All right, let's see. Period. So yeah, you can choose the color and the amount per line. All right, so I think that covers that pretty well. Let me go ahead and get this off of my chart. Well, let's just kind of clean up this whole chart altogether. I just loaded in a clean template. However, I do really like having candlesticks. So we'll go ahead and put that back on. And I'll put it as the regular defaults here. Oh, sorry, I did that as bars, candlesticks. There we go. All right, so there's also, oh, this is a drawing tool, actually. Is that it? That is not what I'm looking for. I just heard Gibby laughing. Let's, oh, there it is. Okay. And you can change around this bar and what shows up too on your own setup, so you have everything you want properly. But what I was trying to show you guys is the odds probability cone. And I just applied this to my chart. So there's been some great enhancements to this. So kind of like you saw with the Fibonacci. Oop, did I click on the right thing here? Yep. So you can come in here and add additional values to the odds probability cone. And so at default, it has the 68 and 95%. Maybe I want to see 25% in here as well. So I can add that and then apply. And it's going to show me the, according to this probability cone, 25% within this zone, 68.27 here and 95 out there. And then also you have the ability to now apply a drift to the probability cone as well. So I'll just put a 1 on there. And so you can see it actually just drifted upwards Or you could also have like a -1 or whatever the variable may be, and you can add in multiple different price levels as well. So maybe I want an 88% probability applied in there too. And now, and then maybe you want to change the colors on those as well. So those have all been added into the odds probability cone. And yeah, you don't really find this anywhere else either, except for inside of MetaStock, and now it's enhanced with even more options on it. So there's the odds probability cone, the crosshair in MetaStock. So let me turn that off. Oh wait, okay. So the crosshair, it shows, I was about to point with my finger, but on the right-hand side, you can see in my y-axis, it's showing the price over there, and then down at the bottom, it's showing the date too. It's showing both at the same time. So it kind of just helps you navigate a little bit faster with the crosshair to make sure that you're on the right date and you're looking at the right price level on the right when you're using the crosshair. So that's an added feature as well. That's honestly just really convenient to have. And then on top of that, we have updates to Andrew's Pitchfork as well. So let me turn that off. And oh, going in the wrong place. Andrew's Pitchfork. Oops. So I am just going to, sorry, let me redo that. Andrew's Pitchfork. So I'm going to plot that. Here, just to show you guys that if you were to plot the pitchfork, and I definitely did not just plot that properly, but you can go in and similar to what you saw with the cone, where I was able to add in different probabilities for the odds probability cone, I can also come in here and I can add in additional lines on the, on the pitchfork too. So I just added additional warning lines outside of it. And then you can also put in custom lines, and then you can go in and specify the different color details on this as well. So that when you have the pitchfork out and you're looking at the different probabilities, you can choose how many zones you have for these different lines, and helps you identify different support and resistance levels. And also too, if you're wondering like, hey, what is Andrew's pitchfork? And why is Bobby placing it that way? Well, yeah, again, I didn't put that on the chart properly, but of course in MetaStock, you always have this help function that you can find too, right down here. And you can pull this up and this will tell you. So the parameters for Andrew's pitchfork are shown below. You can edit the parameters as well by like right clicking on it or double clicking into it to change it. And then it tells you what all the different, things. Let me jump back into MetaStock here. All right, so, and it tells you what everything means in here. So it tells you, goes over the different details in here and tells you what they mean, what it will happen if you change them, etc. That applies to most of our drawing tools and indicators and things like that, or just in general. You can also always come up here and hit help and go to the MetaStock help and then search through things this way. But often when I need the help in MetaStock, it's for something specific. And if it's like a drawing tool, for instance, I can click on the drawing tool and then click help in there and it'll go right to it. So don't forget to take advantage of that feature in MetaStock too, pretty much all the time. And then of course, when there's things in MetaStock, you can also search on our like website to learn more about things, or just search online if you're not sure exactly what a certain indicator or thing is. Or something of that nature. So those tools are now all available to you as well. Well, the help feature's always been there, but the additions to Andrew's pitchfork and the odds probability cone on your drawing tools are now in there, and the different default settings and the color changes and all of that has been added. And let's see, all right, what else do I have on this list? Or let's go into our PowerPoint, make sure we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. So we showed you the trend lines, the snapping to price, the defaults for the Fibonacci. So that's the same with the drawing tools and the indicators, the odds, Andrews. So yeah, you can also set control line colors independent of the drawing tool, depending on what that control line is. If you want it to have look differently. And then an easier access to text properties as well. Oh, I need to stop hitting escape. I'm meaning to just tab over. Let's tab back over and just show you that really quick. So let's insert text real quick. So if I have text on the chart saying hello, now you can simply double click on the text that's on your chart, and then it opens up the text properties. You don't have to go into a unique area to find this. As soon as just double click on your chart, and you can come in and now change the size of it. You can change the frame and fill, the color, etc. What it says. It's just an enhancement that's been made to those of you that have used the text properties. You used to have to use the help function to help you find where to update it. But now double click on it and you can alter those properties there. All right, let's see what else. Okay, the X and Y axis. I have mentioned it a couple of times here, but I'll go ahead and jump in and show you guys everything exactly that's been updated there. And it's a little easier to do, I think, or it shows a little bit more if I have an indicator on the chart. Let's actually just apply a template. I think we even made a couple of updates to some of the templates that just show on the bottom, but this one here is just a popular template. So this actually does have that MACD histogram on it now. And then my chart with the moving average, RSI, etc. There's a few different custom templates or default templates saved down here. You can also save your own custom templates down here. This isn't new to 18, but just in case you guys didn't know. Yeah, so for the y-axis, you can actually see, so this has a moving average applied to it here, and it's telling me the moving average inside of the axis as well. So it's showing indicator last value. Also, as just a good example, if I put the Ichimoku in here with all of its different clouds, now over here in my y-axis, it is showing me the indicator values for those, and I can actually turn that off if I didn't want to show it because maybe it was a little bit too much and I only care about price. But personally, I like to keep it on. Also in here, you can truncate price labels. You can turn that off and on, and units. So this is really big for like futures traders or anyone that's trading, what might be shown in fractions. So it's set to just use the symbol definition. So we're looking at Tesla. So Tesla is just showing, and I'm actually going to turn that off. So Tesla is just showing the price here and then in decimals, and it shows out that many 6 or 7 decimals. It looks like currently maybe it's 8. But you could come in, and if you're looking at something that's normally displayed in like fractions, like 1/4 or a 16th, or something of that nature, you can have it show in fractions instead. So now it says 878 and 23 seconds. But that is really useful if you're looking at something that's traded in fractions. That's available, and you can just choose exactly what it utilizes, how many decimal points it goes out, or the fraction amount, or just use the simple definition. I'll apply that. Actually, I'll just put on all the defaults for this page, and then let's see what else. All right, so another feature that is actually maybe affected by this template. So let me go back to just a basic template, actually. Sorry, guys, I'm jumping all over the place. So I can come into the grid, and you've had the option before where you can show like major grid lines. So it puts these grid lines on here. But now you can also add in and show minor grid lines in between that, or a view that I think looks really nice is you can put grid bands in there as well, and now you see it fills in here, and you can even turn off the major and minor grid lines and just have the bands showing this way. So it's a easy way to help you kind of like identify different major price levels or things of that nature by having the bands on there, and it's just really visually appealing, an easy way to look at it. And also in terms of bands, I can come into the x-axis properties, and I can also show grid lines from my x-axis as well as the bands, and you can have like the X and the Y. So maybe, you know, you prefer to look at a chart this way so you can see the date periods in bands here. So that's been added. Let's see what else we have here. So the units, I think I showed that. Change those. All right, yeah. So down into the X-axis here. Oops. All right, let's open this up. So one thing too that you've noticed, that you'll notice in several places, is that you can like open and close up, hide stuff that you don't want to look at via just clicking on these here. And what else did we add? Oh, so we're looking at it right here. So the data request range and the display range, you used to have to go up into your Power Console every time and choose the number of records that you want loaded. So this has 100 records loaded right now on this chart, and I would go in the Power Console and change the amount that I'm wanting to look at and then open the chart back up. But now you can go into your X-axis and you could say, hey, I want to load the maximum number of records and just hit apply. And so now it's going to load all the historical data for Tesla is what I'm looking at right now. And then you can also choose, you know, you can go from or to down here as well. And then, or sorry, the data request range, that's the display up at the top. So I'm displaying maximum here, but if I come down to the data request range and change that to be maximum and have the display be maximum and I hit max, now it's showing everything on Tesla. Sorry, I got a little mixed up there. But that's really nice because maybe you want to have everything loaded on the chart, but you only want to see the last 100 records initially to be viewing. So it's as easy as doing that. This also, I know that I'm looking at 100 records here. And so if I'm jumping around using the scaling there too, I know that I'm always looking at 100 records using the scroll wheel by clicking in through there. So those are some much needed enhancements. I know, especially for doing some like presentations where I'm trying to show examples of where things happen, this can make it a lot easier to go exactly where I want to go on my chart with the right amount of records to show different examples, things of that nature. So I really like this here. You can choose whether it retains the scale or not. The grid lines, I already showed you guys. Yeah, so I think that covers most of the X-axis here. Let's go back to the PowerPoint and we can even review that together. It looks like we covered most of that. All right, and now we can start getting into some of the other features. As you can see, we already spent over 45 minutes just showing you some of the new chart enhancements. Again, that's all brand new coding, but don't worry, everything's still backwards compatible too. If there's certain things that you are worried about, like losing or anything of that nature, you don't have to worry about that. Also, we've made it, you know, easy to learn the new features. So it's not like you have to completely learn a brand new software or anything like that. Taking advantage of all of these updates is really easy. So there's really no reason not to upgrade and get these new features. All right. Most recently used for selected time periods. All right, let's go ahead and show you guys these enhancements here. So another thing here, this has always been here where you can see the interval that you're looking at, like that's a D because we're looking at a daily time frame right now. Well, if I click on that, you'll notice this is a little bit different because down here at the bottom, it is showing the most recently used list. And from some of our other demos, you can see some of the things that have been added. So like if I was doing a custom and I wanted to look at, you know, 3-day bars, I can do that. And when I apply that to my chart, instead of it saying a C down here that for a custom chart, it's telling me, hey, this is a 3-day interval chart. It says that by the D is day and 3 is the amount of days there. You can also do that with, say, like you're looking at a tick chart. Now it'll say the I stands for intraday, tick chart 75. So just at a glance, immediately you know what you're looking at. Also up here, You can see it says 75 ticks there. And then another thing too, like if you do have these unique custom charts that you like to look at, it saves the last used intervals that you looked at. And not only does it save them right here for you to easily jump back in and look at, but it also saves them inside of the Power Console. So if I wanted to open something up and I come to my intervals here, I can choose the interval time frame from in here. So it remembers them and gives you the most recently used list for both inside of the Power Console and inside of your chart. So that's a really nice added functionality right there. All right, yeah, and then also when the chart's loading, you can change the different tile settings when you're opening several different charts. That's been updated too. And then of course you have like these up here and your auto tile and things. Let's see, so inactivity gaps, let me, oops. Actually full screen this guy. And let's go into chart window properties. So if I go inside of the chart window properties, you can see there's now an option to like display inactivity gaps on the chart. So if it's like not being traded or for whatever reason and you want or something like that, there's just no activity on it, you can still have that displayed on your chart so that you can see the difference on there. You can also select the trading session time zone. So, you know, it's always been by default shown based on, you know, what you're looking at, I suppose. But now if you want it to show, you know, your specific time zone, even if you're trading, you know, something from a different time zone, you can do that. It gives you the ability to do that right here under the trading sessions tab under the chart window properties. Let's see. And I think that covers most of the new features in here. Of course, we added the pre and post market in our last upgrade. You can also, of course, look at the 24-hour sessions, but the inactivity gaps is new here and the time zone. I'm going to just get a quick sip of water here. My mouth's getting a little dry. All right, so I want to show you some of the updates inside of the Power Console too. So we went through that Power Console. Here we go. So you can search by name or symbol in the chart tab. This is so great, you guys. It's such a nice new feature to have. So you've had like the instrument search up here before, but now you have the search bar right here where you can go in and you can search using symbol or name. It's actually not affected on whether you're sorting by name or symbol. So you can leave that the same. In the search bar, search by either of them, and it'll give you the option. So let's say I wanted to look at Facebook. So I put Facebook in here, and then if I open this down, this is actually going to tell me, well, first it's going to help me search for it, but it's going to tell me everywhere that that is traded. So under the NASDAQ, so I can find Facebook is right here under the NASDAQ, and then everything else that has FB.O from the NASDAQ on it. But also it lets me see, maybe I should do a better example. So like if I put in gold, so now anything that has gold inside of the name or the symbol shows up, and it tells me where it shows up to. So something like if this means it shows up under the NYSE, the NYSE Amex, etc. This can become you know, useful if you're trying to find crude oil. Oh, let me close that list actually. Like, so if you wanted to find crude and see where all it's traded, because it's, you know, whether you're looking for it in Asia or Europe or North America, et cetera, and the specific exchange it's on, it's just a way to help you not only find things in your list here, but also see what they're traded inside of. You can still do the normal instrument search up here to find stuff as well if you're actually just looking for Facebook in particular, and you want to choose if it starts with, ends with, contains, etc. That option's still there, but this is an added search that's within the folders that are showing up, and it can help you identify where things are being traded. So I really like that. We have updated, oh, actually I noticed there's a couple questions in here. Someone wanted to know if they can save the Fibonacci colors specifically and then have them on a template and in more than one template. Yes, you can do that. You just can't have more than one defaulted Fibonacci, but you can save it within multiple charts. It looks like Jeff has actually been answering those questions too via the chat, but I'm just noticing them, so wanted to touch on it. All right, back into here with you guys. Let's see. So in the Explorer and the System Tester now, so we added the favorites feature a couple versions back, but now we've made it even easier to navigate through with your favorites. When you're going through your explorations and selecting what you want, note that you do have the search bar here and here, but if I wanted to save these in particular as favorites, add them to my favorites, now you have a favorite tab. So instead of it being like in a drop down in here, like you have in the charts, instead of this type of drop down for selecting favorites, it's actually just right up at the top, and it makes it a lot easier to jump into. And once you've had a list saved in here too, you can normally just go into this favorite tab and run your favorite explorations really easily. It's also down in the System Tester as well. And then another really big benefit too, when you're is using the search here, going through things. I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit more about this later, but like if I want to search for any sort of our performance systems, I can just put PS into the search here, and then it pulls up everything with PS in it, and then it would be a really easy way to select all of them, all 81 of the performance systems, which are now, you guessed it, available inside of MetaStock 18. And I'll be touching in a little bit more on that later, but I wanted you to just see the functionality that's been added there. Or maybe you really like the Teach Talk Trade systems, so you can put in TTT and then get a list of those and grab them as well. If I have something selected that's not showing up in the window, it won't let me do the select all. But now if I have the put in TTT, it'll let me select them. All right, let's see what else we have. The favorites, the searching within here. All right, cover those. Let's open back in here. Okay, so also we've added changes and updates inside of our quote center and inside of option scope too. And let's go ahead and jump in MetaStock and show you those updates. So if I come to quote center here, it looks like there was a list from the demo. Let's go ahead and just open up this list here. And you're going to notice something right away. It has this gainers and losers tab. So this is just off of the list I opened. Maybe this is, you have your portfolio saved as a watch list or a watch list or anything of that nature. So if you open that up in here, it'll tell you immediately, okay, we have 79 that are down right now, 80% of this list, and 19% that are gainers right now are about 19.39%. So you have that option right there. Also inside of the quote center and in option scope, they now, you can now get into the settings up here, and it has this drop down menu so that you can open things up and change them within here. And we have 3 themes for the quote center and option scope. And we figure if you like to look at the quote center one way, and that's how, you know, how you prefer to have lists and things showing, it's probably the same theme that you would want inside of option scope. So they're linked together. If I choose the dark orange theme inside of my quote center, it's also going to apply the dark orange theme inside of the option scope tab as well. Let's see here. Okay, another thing. So if I wanted to just open up a chart from here, you know, all you have to do is double click and that'll open up the chart. I have too many charts open. Let me actually close all of my charts so I can better demonstrate this. Oops, I did save. Let's not do that. I should have just said no to all of those. Anyways, so if I open up a chart, it's actually from here, it's going to default open up however I have charts saved to open up in here. So if I want all my charts to open as a smart chart, that's what just happened. It opened it up as a smart chart, but maybe I want it to open up as, say, Mama Fama or something else. Whatever I have selected in here, when I open up a chart from my quote center, that's the template and the options that you can select around it as well that the chart will open up as. So that's really nice to have as well. And I think that covers most of it inside of the quote center. Let's see what else. And then let's jump into option scope, where you're going to notice some really big updates in here too. So similar to the gainers and loser bar that you just saw inside of Quote Center, we now have a put call ratio, which I'll show in just a second, just because it's easy to see here in the PowerPoint. We've also added 8 different option strategies inside of option scope, including like the bear put spread, bear call spread, covered call, long put, etc. And we've made these into risk graphs that you can see. And then you can also easily choose the different options from your option scope list to see what these strategies look like. And I'm going to show you guys that right now. So this is my quote center. Let's actually close that. Yes, I'm sure. Let's go to option scope. And let's go ahead and just open up one of these from the last 30 days. Expiration date. All right, so if I just chose a random thing here, so a Merit Tower, and there's actually not a lot in here. Maybe I even want to just add a little more so that you can see more variations to this. So whatever options I have selected here, you know, it's going to show the put and call ratios, and you get this showing you, you know, how many the amount of volume for puts, the amount of volume for your calls, and then the open interest on the calls and puts as well. And then you can also search to find the top put here, and it'll highlight it, and it found it for me down here. It brought me to it. And then what I was mentioning for the strategies, you have those listed over here. So you can see all the different strategies, and I can actually choose one like such as a long call. And then it'll let me put in, okay, the instrument, I can say the strike price, the buy price, the number of contracts that I want to buy, etc. Or what's much easier to do is you can just come up here and select an option, and it'll utilize all the information from that to then put it onto the risk graph down here for me to look at. And now you'll see, let me actually open up this legend. This is actually a little bit hard to view here, so I'm going to change. Well, we'll actually just change it right here. So let me close this back down. I can come in and change the different colors on this. So you can see here we have the underlying price. I guess it even says right there. So the underlying price, I want it to be white. For my long calls, let's have that be a variation of green. And my break-even point, I want to be yellow, etc. So it tells me, using this option that I selected, first off, I can see how much it costs. So it would be $125. And if the price is in this amount down here at all, then that's a loss. And I have to get to this break-even point right here, which is the, you know, about 260 or so. And if it goes past that, if the price, it lists the price down at the bottom, if it reaches that price, then I'll have the profit that's listed on there. And then I can change all those different variables over here as well. But it's a really unique setup. And you can also do it for, like, say, a long straddle. And then I can come in and choose, you know, both options that I want to use for a long straddle. And then it plots both of them in here. And then I can see the underlying price, my break-even point 1 and 2. And again, you can change these to something that's a little easier to use, or apply one of the different themes. And so, yeah, so I mean, this is something we've had customers asking us for quite a while, like, hey, I want to be able to see, you know, charts of different option strategies. And now you have this risk graph that's available in here. It also tells you the different price points for them down here at the bottom. And yeah, it makes it really easy to kind of go through and see some of the different options that you have with your options. All right, let's see what else I have to show you guys. I think that covers a lot of it. How are we doing on time too? Okay, I'm going over just a little bit, but we're about to get things wrapped up. So I actually did touch on this, but we have the Performance Systems Plus. It used to be an add-on that we would sell for $300, and we've always had some built-in performance systems, a little over 30 or around 30 of them, and there are 54 additional performance systems that were available for $300, but we've been able to get those included inside of version 18 of MetaStock. We've also added some updates to the Haguro system and added Daryl Guppy's traders ATR indicators. In regards to Performance Systems Plus, so I will say it has been our best-selling add-on of all time. It's been out for quite a while, but when it released, I mean, we sold tons of copies, and we've been continuously selling it every single year. It's not something that's just kind of died down. You know, the fact that you can get this Performance Systems Plus add-on for now cheaper with an upgrade to MetaStock that also comes with everything else that's in MetaStock, I mean, it's a really great deal. These are all the new systems that have been added into it. So you just get these as default indicators and systems in MetaStock, and these are all tested to be great performing systems, hence the performance systems. So you can run these through your system tests, you can do explorations with them, you can plot them onto your chart. The way that he was able to come up with all of these different systems that are included, they tested over 10,000 combinations of systems and stocks. They only used daily data with no trade delay and no stops included on that. So these could even be, you know, kind of optimized even further, but they used they did not use any low priced or low volume stocks like penny stocks or anything like that, because those can, you know, trade erratically. These are tested on mid-level or higher stocks, like just not on penny stocks or pink slips, things of that nature. And they all tested to trade with at least 50% proficiency. So that's kind of how all of those systems were generated. And then also we've added in Daryl Guppy's ATR. So we were wanting to get this in for quite a while, but we had to release the new charting engine to have it display everything properly. But with this, you can now have a trailing stop added on that'll show you can use it for both longs and shorts, and it gives you easy confirmation of trend breaks and stop losses and easy stop identification. So let's go ahead and open MetaStock back up here and just show you. So GT, that's for Guppy traders, the trader ATR long. Oh, and I actually need a price point. So let's say I was going to buy in here. So this is in October 21. I should actually probably try to look at my price. I might miss it. So when you try to drop that on, if I'm trying to do, well, this looks like the end of October. So we'll say the 30th of October. So the start month is the 10th. This is the 2021, and I'll just leave all of that the same and plot that. So if I plotted that right here to get in, then it shows it here as my trailing stop that updates. And then once that trailing stop is penetrated, and I didn't choose an actual entry I would have used or anything, I'm just trying to show you guys how this works as an example. Once the price closed below the trailing stop, then it stopped calculating. So I just get the flat bar here, and I would have known to get out there. This is just an example to show here for you guys, but it actually works really, really well, and it's a great additional stop to use. You can also excuse me, change some of the variables in here, and of course choose the color style and things of that nature as well. So we've added that as an indicator too, and I guess that pretty much sums up most of what I was trying to show you guys inside of 18. Oh, we've also added some updates into our Haguro system too that you'll find, but I know I've already gone over by about 10 or so minutes here. So if you guys have any additional questions, I mean, you're definitely welcome to ask them now, or if this comes up later, you're watching the recording, something like that, you can always chat in metastock.com/sales chat. You can also go there to order the upgrade to 18, and our sales guys would be happy to help you with that. We do have a release promotion going right now, so you can get a discount on that upgrade. It depends on whether you're wanting the daily charts version or the real time. You can also just visit us on the web for all you brand new users that might be interested, metastock.com/P222, and that is going to let you buy it just outright as a brand new customer, or if you're looking to upgrade, metastock.com/MM222 to order online, or of course to have anyone answer any other questions and tell you some of the other features or highlights or how you can use these features in your exact trading methodologies. Then feel free to reach one of our sales reps, metastock.com/sales chat, and the phone number 800-882-3040. Or if you're international, 801-506-2000. Also, if you have any questions for me directly, bobby.hiller@metastock.com. You can reach out to me too, and I'd be happy to answer any questions for you specifically. And as I'm looking in here, it looks like Jeff's been staying on top of answering most questions. Okay, I think that's going to cover it, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. And yeah, just reach back out if you guys want help or want us to go over anything else with you. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for joining me.